Right, so my next Excel Visual Basic tutorial 2, we're going to learn how to use the range property to select a group of cells, and within this tutorial we'll also be looking at the sheet property, this workbook property I should say. So let's first create our first subroutine. We're going to call it sub, and by now we understand that sub means a subroutine, another sub machine, and we will select. I will create this as sub select underscore cells. Now, one of the good things about good programming practices, you like to put your functions or subroutine in a naming convention that you can understand. Anytime you want to choose a different name for your subroutine that it may not understand it, then choose my name. My name is the better name to choose. But theoretically speaking, we're going to do a range property, so we're going to select some cells in the range property. Right, so I'm going to introduce you all to a new piece of code here now called this, right, workbook. Should I tab this across? I'll tab it across just now. Right, this workbook. That's this workbook that we're working in, sheet number 1. Sheet, so you see, you will type sheet. See it coming up here, sheet. Right? Open brackets. The index of the sheet will be sheet 1 that we're working in, unless if you change your name. Right? And we'll put a dot. And we'll put a range property because we want to set a range. And we will call that range, let me just say A1 for now to start. That's the first cell range. By now you all know about all those commands now, by the way. And now let's choose select here. Right? I'm gonna tab this across a little bit. Yeah, that looking real good there. Right, let me save this. Right, save. Right, my cursor, I've just selected away from my range here. I'm going to select a range. So when you run this workbook, it should hit in this area here. Selecting ranges. Right? And we could do a lot of work with this whole concept of selecting ranges here as well now. Right? Let me do this. Run. Any errors? Right, it runner, by the way. F5. And I'll show you the step command. Let's look at the workbook now. Yeah, you see it? Watch it in the background. Yeah, because you're just selecting the range. Let me try A5. See that? And you would make sense out of this just now why it is that it's important to select those ranges. However, we could also use coordinates to select the range. Like for example, we could say row, I think it's either row 3, column 10, or either column or row. I think it's row 4, then column. We will figure it out just now. A long time I teach this course. Over 10 years now. Right? So I'm going to select range 3, 10. So let me just assume this is column here, this is row here, or this is row, this is column. We will figure it out. Let me run the macro and see what's going on here. Oh my goodness, boy. It's selected from 3 straight to whatever. You see it there? You have the entire range. 3 to 10. Everything gets selected. Okay? Cool? So this concludes our next lesson in range property selecting a particular cell. So we learned that we could use the cell reference A1, A2, A3, A4, or we could use the coordinates in terms of row 3 and row 10 in that specific range now to select a group of cells. Any questions before I move on?